Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is it's time. And what's it time for? It's time to stand up. It's time to speak your heart. It's time to be engaged with life. If not now, when? Right? It's time. Good morning, Rosalind. Welcome. Great to have you here with us this morning, and welcome to everybody else who's joining us. Today's topic is it's time. Now's the time. So before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, all your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub those hands together, feel all that energy, the friction, the temperature, the pressure. And when you stop rubbing them together, all that tickling and tingling, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Jenny. Welcome. Great to have you here with us this morning. So today we're talking about it's time. Now's the time. Now's the time to what? To be engaged with life, to stand up for what you believe in, to speak your mind, to create benefit in the world, to contribute to life. And why now? Well, because now is all there is, right? So let me think. I just saw a quote from the Dalai Lama that I'm probably going to misquote, but it was awesome. And that was, there are only 2 days that you can't do anything. There's only 2 days that you can't do anything to affect change. Yesterday and tomorrow, because all there is today. So today is the day. Today is the day that we get to do that thing we've been putting off. Today is the day we get to speak our heart to someone we love, that maybe there's been a lack of communication. Today's the day we get to celebrate. You know, it's so funny. So many of us have a resistance to celebrating. I just don't get it. Like if we celebrate, maybe we'll jinx it. You know, like, or if we celebrate, maybe we're being self-indulgent. Or if we celebrate, maybe we're being too egocentric. So Rosalind says, what about at your own pace? Yes, everything at our own pace, 100%. And there's no time like the present, right? So what's your pace to do or be engaged in a way that you've been waiting on? You know, like, I'll do that another time. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that when I can retire. You know, I'll do that. I'll wait for life to begin when all the circumstances meet my criteria. You know, excuse me, I swallowed wrong. So the question is, what are you waiting on? You know, we're often, so Rosalind says, I procrastinate all the time. Well, one of the things about procrastination is that oftentimes we call procrastination some or we name a behavior procrastination when often it is just simple avoidance. Like, I don't want to do that thing, and I've put it on my to-do list. The truth is, I don't really have to do that thing. I don't want to do that thing. And then we say we procrastinate when in fact we're just not enrolled. We're just not engaged. We don't want to, we're not gonna, so let's name it what it is. It often isn't procrastination. It's a matter of allowing ourselves the freedom to reprioritize, right? Because sometimes we have these things on our list that we should do, but we have no investment in doing it at all. Take it off the list. Take it off the list. If you have no investment in doing it, take it off the list and free yourself from the stigma of having it there weighing you down. If you're, if you're not committed to it, if you're not invested in it. Jenny says laundry. Well, there is a point at which you get to do the laundry, right? Or else you don't have anything to wear. So, maybe we just allow these things to show up when they have to. I have been collecting some laundry for a bit, and in the not distant future, I'm going to need to wash my clothes, because then I won't, if I don't, I won't have anything to wear. So, there are times when things become necessary. Things make themselves a priority, right? But I do think that we tend to clutter our lives and our consciousness and our sense of responsibility with things that we think we should do that we have no commitment to, no investment. Yeah, Jenny says, yeah, when you're out of clean undies, that's the time to do laundry or wash some out in the sink, right? You can prolong it a little bit longer. Yeah, so I think that we get to look at now's the time for what's that thing you've been wanting to do, but you just haven't given yourself the time, the priority, the freedom to take action. Someday, one day. Well, what if someday's today? What if someday's today? So, I know someone who recently got a pretty intense medical diagnosis. And Jenny says to buy a new car. I hear you, Jenny. You've got some stuff going on with cars. I think you get to explore that because it's very, very interesting. It's very interesting and kind of defies the odds. So, I think that there's maybe a really powerful and positive message available to you, in your interesting history with cars. Because, metaphorically, they say the car is our self, just like our home is our self. So I don't know what kind of exploration and discovery you might. Jenny says, I've been searching. Okay, well, good. Be open to it. Be open to it, and just play with the idea. See what might be, what might make itself known to you. Anyway, now's the time. There's no time like the present, they say, right? Because that's all there is, really. I mean, I was talking about hearing about this person who had a pretty intense diagnosis, and it made me think, well, what Jenny says, high mileage and high prices for cars. Yeah, the cars are at like all-time highs right now. It's crazy. Anyway, this person who got this diagnosis made me think, well, what would I do? What would I do differently? What would I give myself permission to do if I had a terminal diagnosis? And I think that this is worth any of us, all of us, looking at. What would you change in your life if you knew that you had limited time? Because the truth is, we all have limited time. We just don't know how limited it is, right? But what would you do? It's funny. I used to move around a lot. I'd go from place to place to place, apartment wise. And I would never really do the place up the way I wanted it, because I always figured I wasn't going to be there long. And this place where I am now, I've been here for forever. And I also gave up that I'm not going to do it up because I won't be here for long. And I really made it home. And I think we often predicate our lives on later. Like, I'll do that later, or I'll feel happy when I get that new job. I'll feel successful when I make that amount of money. Jenny says, I don't know how the reflection is on myself. And right before that said high mileage and high prices. That's funny, Jenny. That's very funny. Anyway, let's look at no time like the present. What if we were to live life knowing that we are going to die? Because we are going to die. So what if we were to live life with recognition of that? What would we do differently? What are those things on our bucket list that we've been putting off for someday, one day? What are the ways that we've prioritized our lives? So Jenny says, I've been there with leukemia, with 7 months remission. The second time I was in fear I wasn't going to make it. I got you, Jenny. That's intense. So you definitely know what I'm talking about. And in facing that kind of imminent threat, it changes our perspective on life dramatically, right? It changes the way we are in life. And we can use that as a way to enrich our lives, to drink in life more fully, to engage more fully, or we can shrink. We can try to live under the radar, so to speak, or we can shine the light that we are, for whatever time we've got, right, in this moment. So Rosalind says, leaving this world to disappear gives a sense to leave a mark or legacy. So, Rosalind, it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of people are very committed to leaving a mark, leaving a legacy. And in time, when we're looking at leaving a mark or leaving a legacy, we're looking at that pretty much in human terms, right? Like based on human values. And humans haven't been here for all that long in the larger scheme of things. But you have the pharaohs, for instance, that we dig up and find out about. I mean, that's kind of an extreme level of legacy, right? But there are other civilizations that have come and gone and been utterly forgotten. And our current civilization isn't very old when you think about it. And what does it mean to leave a legacy? Is it to be individually remembered? Is it to, I mean, a lot of people have children because that's their legacy, right? To continue their history somehow. Jenny says, yes, you relish the moments with the ones you love. It's kind of like the amount of time you have left with your mom. Wow, Jenny, thank you. Today is her birthday, as a matter of fact. And so yesterday I was talking about waves. I think it was yesterday. Anyway, what I noticed was that I had all these waves of emotion around her being here and her not being here. And I am becoming a lot more present to the impermanence, right? The passage of time and the imminence of death, right? Or that transition. It's gotten a lot more real for me with her, with this birthday. Jenny says it's a tough one to think about. Yeah, it's interesting because it's such a mixed bag, right? We have these histories that we have with people, and it's such a mixed bag, and we have our ways of navigating these difficult spaces. It's often by being in denial in some way or another. It's often skirting the issue, or being very pragmatic and matter of fact. We've tried to cultivate ways that we can navigate loss, thinking that we can immunize ourselves against it in some way. And I think there's tremendous value recognizing the preciousness of the moments of our lives. And I can say, we get caught in stupid stuff, like getting pissed off about the dishes in the sink, for instance, or, spending all kinds of time doing stuff we hate, or not realizing how precious every moment is. So Jenny says, is your mom still alive? Yeah, today's her birthday, 92. So I think I was talking about anticipatory loss or anticipatory grief, knowing that you have limited time with someone. which the truth is we all have limited time with someone, you know? It could be a day, a week, a month, a year, decades. But what in our lives are we taking for granted that perhaps we could more deeply appreciate and engage with? So, and recognize that each of us makes a difference. So, Rosalind, you were talking about legacy. Legacy is maybe how we make people feel. They remember us, you know. Even if we do grand things, you know, all the public figures that we remember, that's also fleeting. It's also fleeting, whether it's decades or centuries. It's not something that survives time, whatever the legacy, unless unless we look at a bigger context where we created more love in the world and that got to propagate. That's kind of an awesome legacy. It might not be one that other people recognize or identify you with. So Jenny says what you're remembered for, right? But how long is memory? I'm learning some interesting stuff. Did you know that in the late 30s or early 40s, there was a planned armed insurrection? There was a big plan to take over the government. Right now, Rachel Maddow is doing a new podcast called Ultra, and Rachel Maddow, if you don't know who she is a news commentator who is very insightful, definitely left-leaning and very insightful, whether you're left-leaning or not. And she's exposing that this cabal that was looking to take over the government engaged a lot of people that were in the government, and they were Nazi sympathizers, not just Nazi sympathizers, but they were collaborating with the Nazis. Apparently, there was a big movement in this country that was collaborating with the Nazis in the beginning of and during World War II. So, I mean, like, did we know that? Did we remember that? Not so much. Now it's being brought to light, but is it part of our history? You would think that would be kind of a legacy, right? I mean, you would think that we would remember that. You would think that we would know that. And it is currently happening now, Jenny, which is why she's doing this podcast, to say, guess what? It's not something new. This kind of thing has happened before. Maybe we can take a lesson from it. Jenny says, how you leave people feeling and your time spent is more important than what you give. I agree, more important than things. Jenny, I don't know if it was, I think it was not given priority. I don't know if it was directly covered up in a deliberate way. Parts of it were. Jenny says, who is she again? Rachel, Rachel Maddow, Maddow. The podcast is called Ultra, Ultra. And it's very interesting because some of the rhetoric from that time is directly being parroted now. And it's very, very, very interesting. And in fact, the US received a whole lot of Nazi scientists after the war. In fact, that's where our aerospace program came from to a certain degree. We had Werner von Braun and a bunch of other German and Nazi scientists that came and became part of our government too. So I think, I don't know if that was Project Paperclip, might have been, but you can look that up too. Very interesting history that we don't know about typically. Rosalind says seasons and the time of day control our sense of time. The river flows, swells, meanders. What attachments do we have to things that are constants, the things we want to stay the same? Well, things don't stay the same. And that was very poetic, by the way, Rosalind, beautifully spoken. And seasons and time of day. The sense of time is so weird because I don't know about you, but I've had experiences where it feels like time just disappears and flies. And other times a day can last a month. So while the seasons and the time of day help us to meter ourselves somehow or give us a grounding in a broader cycles of time, I think that our internal experience of time is on some other kind of clock that I don't really understand for sure. Jenny says, yes, they made the fertilizers that poisons the food. Well, Bayer's a German company. Monsanto, I don't know where where they're from. Jenny says it sure does. And I'm not sure what it sure does is time flies. Time flies and time crawls, both at, very interesting. Like I can go through a day and a day feels like it can take forever and yet a year disappears. So anyway, I gotta go. Lots and lots of love to you. Until next time, I'm Mira Rubin, here with you on Enlightened World Network. And I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Please, please, please check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network. And until next time, so much love to you and deep appreciation for your engagement and willingness to explore sometimes uncomfortable topics and to just be engaging. So much love to you. Until